Oh, it's the Pete Sousa Show. We are coming to you live from the Alico building on a Tuesday afternoon, 1 o'clock. We have Allie Cadlebar coming up, going to join us in studio. Allie, if you don't know, is the best reporter in America. And I say that news reporter. She is. And she works here locally in Central Texas. And so anytime we get a chance to corral her and chat, it's a good time. Also want to thank Slovacics. We will be out there next Wednesday. So about 8 days from now, we're going to party. It's going to be Christmas time. It's going to be December 18th. I mean, come on. And we're going to be out at Slovacics having a real good time. Tomorrow is December 11th. A Baylor basketball game, actually. 11 a.m. start against Norfolk State. So I'll be doing that one. I got to do some cramming, just filling in for John Morris on the radio. Then I got a hoops game in Lubbock on Monday. Big 12 game for ESPN. I'm doing with my man King McClure. And it's the best time of the year, if you ask me. The football-basketball crossover, when you get the flavor popped in with Christmas, is a blast. Even last night, I've been very open with my affection for Joe Buck and for Troy Aikman. And that game last night, on paper, was a total stinker. But you throw in the magic of Monday Night Football, the sizzle of the Dallas Cowboys, Joe Burrow, the storyline of a Bengals kicker dating a Cowboys cheerleader, like for real, like this is going on in real life. And so that was a thread into the storyline of the game, which I am so in for. Troy and Joe, it takes a stinker like that and takes it up a notch. I truly do believe in the magic of television, for lack of a better term. It's kind of antiquated to say it now, but the lack of or I believe in the magic of broadcast and the ability to tell stories within games and to make games like that are somewhat lukewarm into like hotly contested affairs. The Cowboys blew it, no surprise. Actually, surprised to me. I thought they were going to win, and there was a point in time where I was sure they were going to win, but they lost. For the recap and all the news on that, we want you to go, of course, to the Doomsday Podcast. Our boy Matt Mosley does a fantastic job of breaking all of it down with Ed Werder. The two of them were at the game last night, and it was a late finish. Mike Hamilton was up with them late. I was not. I was asleep. Before I went to bed, I was watching old school clips of Howard Cosell being drunk on Monday Night Football. Don't ask me how I got there, but that's where I ended up. And that whole sea of there's a sea of content out there. If you want to go for a Howard Cosell drunk on Monday Night Football, you get more than you bargained for, which can get you hung up on that internet for a while. Big story right now that's brewing, same as a couple days ago, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Bill Belichick, it seems like, is now really efforting to get the North Carolina football job, which again, this is another great example of I don't know. I mean, there's so much about a situation like that I don't know. I would feel foolish doing anything other than speculating, which is a lot of fun to do. That's why we do it here. My speculation starts with what. Like, why does Bill Belichick want this job? I don't understand. There was a report, Cam sent it to me, that came out earlier that said that Belichick sent a 400-page document to North Carolina, the University of North Carolina, on basically how he wants to run that football program. And as it was relayed to me, before Kirby Smart got his first Division I coaching job, when he was at Alabama, I think he interviewed for the South Carolina job, and he did the same thing. Presented this detailed document, large, that said, hey, here's how we're going to run this. And it takes a lot. It's like, what do they say? It takes a village. Like, well, this village also needs a lot of money behind it. And South Carolina said to Kirby Smart at the time, hey, we can't do this. We can't finance this. We don't have the bandwidth to handle this type of commitment that you want to put towards the football program. It sounds like Bill Belichick did the same thing. Because he wants to run it. In Kirby's case, he wanted to run it like Alabama. In Bill Belichick's case, I'm not sure either way. Disappointing for me as a fan. I can only look at this selfishly. I feel like I'll lose. And this is somebody who I'm fortunate enough to color or do some college football for ESPN. I mean, couldn't ever imagine doing a game on the ACC network with Bill Belichick at some point down the line. Like, how cool would that be? For someone like me, it will be a magical situation, as we like to keep using the word magic here. But I don't like Bill Belichick coaching at the college level. I feel like it's a way to I'm not a huge legacy guy. Like, for instance, if Bill Belichick is going to coach, I'll take him any way I can get him. So if it's, well, I may go back on that because, okay, here, let's say these are the options because it seems like they are right now, what the options. So hang in there with me. Bill Belichick coaching at North Carolina, okay? Bill Belichick coaching for the New York Giants. Bill Belichick remaining as an analyst on ESPN, and all the other ways that he's contributing now. I would take the Giants first, ESPN second, and North Carolina third. And the reason is because, again, I'm selfish, and I want Bill Belichick in my life as much as I possibly can get him. That is me getting rid of the whole legacy talk and just look, a guy like Bill Belichick, there's never going to be another one like him. And his personality is different. It's, as much as it's not fun, it is fun. He's brilliant coaching wise. Forget about the fact that he has a 20-something-year-old girlfriend now, which is a whole nother addition to the party. There's a lot to be interested about with Bill Belichick. And plus, will he be able to resume his level of success if he becomes a coach? It will be so much more interesting on the NFL level in a city like New York, as opposed to, in my estimation and in my belief, by week 7 or 8 of the college football season, unless there's some amazing run for North Carolina, like, we won't be talking about Bill Belichick that much. And I want to talk about Bill Belichick. I do. I think the reason that I don't talk about some of these other potential openings in the NFL are because, you talk about Jacksonville, like, okay, maybe I'd probably take him at Jacksonville. I'd take him anywhere in the NFL before North Carolina. And I think there's certain places he won't go, like the Cowboys, because of all the stuff that we've talked about on this program before, with the assistance from people like Matt Mosley, who's been on the Cowboys beat forever, who puts it pretty simple, like, hey, Jerry is not going to want to concede all kinds of control to Bill Belichick, which it would appear is what Bill Belichick wants. And, who comes with Bill Belichick to North Carolina? That could get ugly in a sense where it's like, what is he going to have Michael Lombardi be like the director of football operations? And then, like, who's going to be, Matt Patricia goes with him? Cam and I were talking about that a little bit too. Remember, you can always watch the Cam show at 11 a.m. Central on YouTube here. Our boys in Chicago now. So a lot of meat on the Bill Belichick bone right now. I stand pat in saying I want him in the NFL with a big league organization like the Giants. After that, I love what I'm getting from him content-wise on ESPN, whether it's with the Mannings, whether it's with Pat McAfee. And if you dig deep enough, you can watch him on NFL Today, which is that is the Bill Belichick I want on the CW, right? The Bill Belichick on Inside the NFL, not NFL Today, I think I said. I fear that the CW version we'll get of Bill Belichick next year is North Carolina SMU at noon on a Saturday, which I'm like, I don't know. And maybe North Carolina Wake Forest, right? Like, that's so there's a lot of speculation going on around Bill Belichick right now. I think look, I've said it and I'll say it again, and you could throw this away. Somebody sent, I'll say who it was exactly. So, by the way, there's an epic video I'm going to share with you guys coming up here in a little bit, with Mark Gastineau and Brett Favre that will put you on your ass. Is that ready, Zach? Okay, it's ready. We're going to take a look at it in a minute here. It made me feel uncomfortable. And it's going to be out in that new documentary about the New York Sack Exchange on the 30 for 30. But Cam sent me this text, or maybe Cam didn't send it. Swingler, did you send this about Bill Belichick's girlfriend who she's following? Okay. Okay, here it is. Ross Martin tweets this. So they have this is crazy how they can do this. The most recent people that Jordan, whatever her last name is, not that I'm belittling her as a person. Jordan is her first name. It says Jordan _ Isabella. That's her Twitter handle. Though she's followed most recently UNC Chapel Hill, UNC football, and UNC football nutrition. So that's like the little weird windows that we get nowadays. And by the way, don't act like let's not blame that on social media. Like really good NFL insiders or college football insiders 2 decades ago were going through guys' trashes and staking out airports. Like, don't give social media a bad name. That's reporting. So unfortunately, this young woman may get maybe put in weird positions that she's probably not crazy about, but it's not the first time this has happened. It's a rough business, but I'm sure the benefits are outweighing the negatives. First of all, she's newly in love. Bill Belichick's, there's some pretty cool stuff I would imagine that comes with being with a guy like that. So all that to be said, there's all kinds of arrows pointing towards Bill Belichick coaching at North Carolina. I am not crazy about it. I want to go on record with saying I'm not crazy about it. I feel like we got a couple good years left of Bill Belichick coaching, and I don't want to see him do it at the college football level. My last thought on this is maybe he wants to do it because that's the only place he can go and have the amount of control that he would like to have. But I would also like some of these NFL owners to snap out of it. And this should have happened last year. Like he should have gotten any job he wants. That's my opinion. And there's too many subpar coaches out there anyways, coaching in the NFL. You just can't convince me Bill Belichick shouldn't be coaching in the NFL this season. But here we are. Interesting decisions abound. The Mark Gastineau thing I brought up. So I've mentioned a couple times I got Gastineau over my shoulder right here with that Lawrence Taylor. See that arm? That's Gastineau. That's a cover with the two of them. And see if Scotty or Zach, if anybody was on that, maybe somebody would have hopped up and zoomed out. But what are we going to do? I got two guys sitting here, 2 donkeys sitting here. Now we're all laughing. Zach, don't do it. All right. Zach's going to do it. So Zach's going to do it. So we're going to hit the rewind button. So I love Mark Gastineau. There he is. Look, that's Mark Gastineau right there. Thank you, Zach. All right, we can go back. Zach. All right. So the ultimate asshole radio host. So anyways, I love Mark Gastineau. I've been infatuated with him since I was a little kid. I was a defensive end, rush end. I liked the idea of putting on a football helmet and kind of going into the character and being flamboyant. And there was no character like Mark Gastineau. Every time he made a big sack, he would dance around. It was crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. It was like Billy White Shoes Johnson. That kind of celebration packaged inside a defensive end. I'd never seen it before. And so I thought that was really cool. It made me think I could play my position and act like a jackass too. And Mark Gastineau married Brigitte Nielsen, was living high on the hog in New York City for many years. Unfortunately, ran into problems with cocaine and life and all that stuff. But if you remember, in 2001, Brett Favre was playing against the New York Giants, and Michael Strahan was 1 sack away from the all-time single-season sack record, which was held by Mark Gastineau. Okay, that's what Gastineau used to do. Sack the shit out of the quarterback. Like, you cannot take away that this was an exceptional football player. And there was nobody in football that did what he did better than him. Okay, to the point where his name was etched in the history books. So we go to that game at the Meadowlands. Favre's team's going to the playoffs. It's late in the game. And Brett Favre, if you remember, rolls to his right and basically flops at the feet of Michael Strahan, ultimately registering Strahan the sack he would need to break Gastineau's record for the single-season sack record. So let's flash forward. There's a documentary coming out maybe this week, the 13th, right? Yeah, that's Thursday or whatever. So a documentary coming out about the New York Sack Exchange, which I can't. I'm losing my mind. I can't wait for this thing. It'll only disappoint me at this point. So there was it looks like a trading show where Mark Gastineau runs into Brett Favre. This is never before seen footage, right? Up until today, where it was posted on Instagram, where I saw it. All right, Zach, let's roll.
I thought we met a long time ago. At least I saw you.
Right.
How you doing?
When you fell down for him. I'm going to get my sack back. I'm going to get my sack back, dude.
You probably would hurt me.
Well, I don't care. You hurt me. You hurt me. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You really hurt me. You hurt me, Brett.
We got to get back to this, Brett. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's like the Real Housewives. That is unbelievable. First of all, there's so much to that story that is compelling for me. One, good for you, Mark Gastineau. That's a difficult thing to do, to let somebody know how you feel in a moment like that. But that's the only chance you're probably going to get. And that was awkward as it can be. Two, tough luck, Brett Favre. That came home to roost, dude. That was a BS move at the time you did it. You actually went on record afterwards saying you did it because you thought Mark Gastineau was a fraud and sucked in your own way of saying it, okay? And you probably never thought you would come face-to-face with a Mark Gastineau who would say that to you. So it's one of those things, is Brett Favre this evil guy? No, but he did something that was kind of crappy, and he got called out for it. And it was whoa, what a scene, right? And how could Mark Gastineau, somebody who was this big monster of a man who had all kinds of, dark clouds following him along with his demons throughout his life, he becomes a victim. I never thought I'd see that, but he said, you hurt me, because it's true. Gastineau earned that record. Like it or not, whether he was an asshole or whatever, he earned that record on the football field. The way that Strahan got that record was rubbish. Rubbish. And again, nobody's taken away from Michael Strahan and his dominant NFL career, but in a vacuum, that sucked that Brett Favre did that. And let's go one more time, Zach. Can we play it one more time? It's worth playing again.
I thought we met a long time ago. At least I saw you.
Right.
How you doing?
When you fell down for him. I'm going to get my sack back. I'm going to get my sack back, dude.
You probably would hurt me.
Well, I don't care. You hurt me. You hurt me. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
You really hurt me. You hurt me, Brett.
We got to get back to this, Brett. I'm sorry.
Now, one thing Favre could have said, now we're really diving deep into this one. It's dude, it was 23 years ago. But I guess that was Gastineau's shot. I can guarantee you this. If that's me, if I'm in Brett Favre's shoes, you go down to whatever table you're signing whatever at, and you just take a minute and just stare off whew, that was crazy. It was wow. So that's my version of reality television, the best version I could ever see. I hate that Mark Gastineau is obviously carrying around pain with him. Because I think that you'd like to see in his life, or at least by now, he could have exercised that, and it comes to a point where he comes face to face with Brett Favre, and it doesn't seem like it was almost like a desperate plea by Mark Gastineau, but a plea nonetheless. And I just found that to be fascinating. And by the way, that clip just came out at really, I got it 2 minutes before 1 o'clock. I sent it to my brother Michael right away, because Mike and I always go back and forth on the Gastineau stuff, because he was just this crazy guy. Remember, Gastineau, I've talked about it at length here, put together an extremely suspect and shady boxing career, where he was involved by the darkest of dark figures, or involved around the darkest of dark figures, and there was all kinds of tomfoolery and stuff that was not above board going on with that situation, which Gastineau says, that didn't happen, but whatever. Man, sports never fails to deliver. Neither does Allie Kadlabar. We're going to come back with her. If we don't have, is Allie ready? Allie's ready? Allie's here. We're going to come back with Allie Cadlebar. We're going to talk a little bit about the news business, what's happening with her. And yeah, Allie Cadlebar coming up next.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
All is right with the basketball world. God's gift to the game of basketball, the Boston Celtics are back in the NBA Finals, baby. I don't think the Mavs did anything special. They played well enough to win and win pretty good. You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought the Celtics didn't show up to play at all, and maybe if they showed some fight in the second half, they would have lost by 15 or so. Is he in the Red Sox Team Hall of Fame?
He is also in the Red Sox Hall of Fame.
Something about this guy being in the Team Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I did. So,
deserving, man.
Which seems like it fit.
Sports.
Hey.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pete Sousa. Welcome back.
Allie, stop. Allie just asked me a question about what something was, and I said I was about to give her like a BS answer, and then you're friends with someone. I was like, I don't know. I should know, Allie, but I don't know what it is. I'm sick of having to act like I know when I talk to people.
Well, I mean, you don't act like you know anything with me, so.
Allie, you talked about. So we were talking about how work can be emotional, especially in the news business, which is the business you're in right now. A naturally happy, exciting, somebody with zest for life. But, the news business can be soul crushing at times, even though it's very important. But you just brought up a time. I said, Allie, was there ever a time when I made you cry? Because we worked together for a long time. And I would sometimes give you some real feedback because I wanted to make you better. Now, you started to tell the story and I said, stop. I think this is something we could capture. So really, let's go through the story again.
Okay. So I was doing a story about this lady and she was remembering her dad through music, I think a show that she was doing.
Okay.
And I just felt the need to buy her flowers. Okay. And so I filmed it. I forgot why, but it had a reason to it. Obviously not a very good one, but I filmed it and it was definitely not with the intention of look how amazing of a person I am. Because I'm not, I'm definitely not. I don't think that about myself, but I filmed it and then we did it as a crosstalk where I was like, hey guys, hey Pete and Keisha, look at this. She was really sad. I gave her flowers and now she's happy. That kind of thing. And then after the show, Pete was like, hey, Allie,
but I didn't do it in front of a lot of people.
No, it was just us two.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, Allie, don't do that. Don't do that. You don't want to look like that, on camera. Just do it by yourself. And So I was like, do that. That's cool. But don't make it a part of the story. Right. And I felt really sad because I wasn't trying to come across that way. And I was scared that I did. And then Pete Sousa told me that not to do that again. And I went to the bathroom and cried. I had no idea this ever happened. But, I don't cry very often. It takes a lot to make me cry. So it was just a tear. I shed one tear. I really did make you cry, though. But it was just I'm sorry. It was 2 years ago. I'm sorry. I'm stronger now.
But now I'm trying to get myself out of it. Was that valuable feedback?
Yes.
It was.
There you go.
I mean, because I've gotten burnt before too.
that.
You know what? This is a great
No,
topic.
but I miss that because like you need somebody to tell you, hey, like because you used to tell me all the time, like, hey, don't do that. Hey, do this. Hey, you need to wear this. Like, you know,
You need to wear this. Take it easy,
Okay,
like
wait,
I'm
but,
Roger
like-
Ailes. It was the opposite of what people might think. I was like, Allie, if you show up to people who are living in squalor and it's flooded, like don't show up in like a prom dress. Like that's a time where you wear,
right.
long
So-
pants and
I appreciated that feedback because yes, it
Allie
did.
hates golf. She hates golf shirts. We had to get
Because-
past that.
I do hate that. But unfortunately have gotten into this thing where like whatever Pete Sousa says is like gospel.
That's not true.
And
That's not true.
well, I'm like, well, if Pete says it, he's sometimes right about things.
Well,
so
no,
I'll listen
but
to Pete.
And when it's coming to important conversations, I try to either relay what experience I've had or what people who I think very highly of have relayed to me. Like the other day, Allie was being she was having a
I
pity
was
party.
feeling down.
She was having a pity party. So I have experience in Alcoholics Anonymous. Allie does not. But in one of my favorite groups that I go to, my friend Clint always says when we're complaining a lot, he says, why don't you go down to Pennsylvania Hospital and find one of the kids that's in a wheelchair right now and is bald because they're very sick and who wasn't born that way, and tell them how you feel and why you're feeling that way.
That's what Pete said to me, and then I took it to heart, and then I
It
was
changes
like,
your
wait.
perspective.
I was like, wait, wow, life is okay.
Life is not that bad. Not as
Right.
bad. I even
And
thought yesterday.
it's affected me every day since then. I'm like, wow, you know.
It was yesterday, Allie.
No, it was Friday.
Okay, Friday. Yeah, it's true though. It's good advice. But I want to talk to you about something that happened this morning. And I don't care. This person can see this. It doesn't matter.
You got pulled
So-
over.
No, so my friend Christy Soto won an Emmy. Okay.
I saw that.
So gets interesting. So Christy won an Emmy, and she posts that she won an Emmy on Facebook, probably where you saw it. She texted. Christy is diehard news biz, like more so than anybody I know. She grew up a part of her life in Colombia, did not have much money. It's been really her and her mom against the world, and she has worked her ass off to become a successful journalist and to tell stories. That's important to know because when Christy wins an Emmy, overcoming a lot, growing up with nothing, it means so much to her. So she wants to trumpet the good news like she did. And like the post that she put up, like it was like very, like I'm so happy. It was like a picture of her
Yeah.
getting the news that she got
Yeah.
it. She was kind of like crying. So it was like really like sort of dramatic, but anyways. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, if somebody doesn't know Christy, they might take this the wrong way, right? Well, somebody doesn't know Christy.
Did you say something to her?
No,
okay.
no. It was not a time to say anything. She won an Emmy.
Yeah.
Like whatever. And you don't think I've posted a ton of stupid shit over the course of my life? It's not my business. Another. We're gonna go back to Clint, my buddy. Does it need to be said? Does it need to be said right now? Does it need to be said by me? Those are good things to run through your brain before you tell someone something. You know. Does it need to be said? Does it need to be said right now? And does it need to be said by me? Allie, right?
I'm usually my lips are usually pretty sealed.
Yeah.
I think before I speak. So
You're pretty good. You're pretty good. I'm not. So, that's
wait,
important.
where's this story going?
Wait. So this morning, that asshole from FTV Live, you wrote a story about Christy and put it up there. And he said, here's a thought. That was the heading. And then he basically talked about how she had posted about winning an Emmy and how she made it all about herself. And maybe next time you could link like the story to it or like the foundation that you helped with your story. And then he said, yeah, look at Allie's face. Like that's true. And then he was like, the hundreds or the thousands of other journalists who win Emmys, like maybe like basically like you don't mean shit. Like, and that's
so sad.
It sucks because
why do people have to tear other people down? Especially, I don't
And-
want them to come for me, but
that guy, his name is Scott something. He, like 20 years ago, more than that maybe, he broke a big story about Jay Leno wanting to go back to the Tonight Show when Conan O'Brien was here. And the guy has had it like a successful gossip website. Have you ever been on there?
Oh, FTV Live.
Yeah.
Maybe once.
Yeah, I've been on once. Yeah.
Oh wait, like to look at it or been on it?
No, I mean like I was on it.
Oh my gosh, no, I don't think I have. What
Yeah.
if I have? Should I go look?
No, don't look. But so
Hopefully I'm not that.
And so that is like the gossip rag for like news directors and stuff. Everybody reads that. Like Christy woke up this morning with a text from her agent, like, "Hey, I saw this." Like that was, and shared with her the article.
That's
So the only thing I told
sad.
Christy this morning, because we talked, I was like, "Look, in all situations like this, like there's a sliver that we can take from it and learn." That's all I'm saying. Like when the guy dinged me, that's what I did. I was like, man, I guess I got to look at myself. Like there's always a little, it's hard to see it at the time, you know?
Yeah.
But there's always a shred. But that guy stinks.
It's just like, why?
Yeah. Why, right?
Why? That's it. that makes me sick. Like it makes me want to like just live in a hole.
Well, don't live in a hole, Allie, because you've been doing some great
But
work.
you
lately.
told me that like, you know, if somebody's talking about you, then that's a good thing because it means like you've made it.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
you're
that's what I
like-
said to Chrissy this morning. I was like, really, like, you won an Emmy. Like, this, like, don't even, you know, and you don't respond to the guy. You don't, like, there's this one girl, Liv, I forget her last name, but she's, we're friends on Instagram. My agent knows her, the guy who I work with. And this guy used to always crush her when she was in Fresno, like as a reporter or like, yeah, and now she's in New York, like doing the weather there. Like, so this guy's got no, like, who cares is what I was telling Christy.
That's just
You know?
sad. It's sad that people look at it too, because if people don't look at it,
Bob
then
looks
they'll-
at it. Bob Walters reads it every morning. Oh yeah, our Allie's current boss and our old news director, my old news director. Oh, I guarantee, like he read that thing about Christy this morning. But the thing about Bob is he's so cool, like he just reads it. Like Bob, if Bob sees that, he's like, "Oh, that's disappointing." Like he's like,
Does he let you know? Like, what if I've been on it?
no, he would let you know if there was, because he wants you to know that it's out there, you know. And ultimately, it can, like, there was one story that we did. You were here. Rissa Shaw did a story about the Hocus Pocus lady.
Yes.
Hocus Pocus came out.
Oh my
and we
gosh,
did
an
a story.
SNL skit.
Yeah, it
was
turned into an
made
SNL
about
skit.
A KWTX story.
What did the woman say?
I can't remember. She was just like, I don't let my children watch Hocus Pocus 3 or whatever remake because it like entices the devil to come into your home. Something like that.
Yes.
I don't know if that was it.
Yes, and it was a story that got like all this stuff on Facebook and it went crazy. And then everybody was coming down on the news director, Bob, and it was a whole deal. But yeah, the news business can suck. I mean, think about that. You work your ass off all day. You work hard. You're out there kicking ass, taking names, and then you feel good about yourself. And then this guy comes and knocks you off.
Yeah, like the one time you feel good about yourself actually. And
Yeah.
then there's always like that. I don't know. I always feel that what is it? The thing where
Karma?
no, it's on the tip of my tongue where like you feel like you don't deserve it. Like you feel
Yeah, well, it's imposter syndrome.
yes, that
Yeah.
there's always that. And so like, you know, you post about it, you feel good about it, and then somebody comes after you. No, I was talking to my sister about this yesterday.
Gabby,
I was like,
newly married, recently married.
well, some people saw me in the store. I was on the phone with her and they were like, hey, Allie, like, we love you, like that kind of stuff, which I so appreciate. But I was like, Gabby, like, I'm always just waiting for someone to say, hey, I watch you every morning and I hate you. And like, you suck. And like, it would, you know, it would be like, yeah, I know. Thank you. Like, you know, like I'm just ready. Like I'm always
that
ready.
will be the one person you
No.
listen to.
No, I just am always ready for someone to come for me, and I'm ready to be like, yeah, you're right. Like I feel that about myself. So
I mean, but you have to remember, like, see, you're
I was just talking to my sister about
your intentions are pure. Like you do a good job. Like you put those stories out there because they mean so nobody should be able to say anything that can knock you off. Really?
I hope not.
That's the idea, at least, because I'm the same
come
way.
for
Like
me.
I'm constantly like, after a game or something, I'll see like who's tweeting about me and if people are talking bad.
You're supposed to not look at the comments.
Yeah, I do. I was listening to Howard Stern the other day. He was like, I'm trying to figure out why in the world we allow our social media posts to have comments. He's like, because nobody likes me. Like, and he said that. And he's like, he said, you know what he said? He's like, I liked it a lot more before the comments on social media when I thought that everybody loved me. And he's like, now everybody hates me.
No, like I just remember I learned that lesson after I went to a terrible shooting and they sent me out there. It was like probably my second breaking news story. It was my second month on the job. Facebook Live. And I had no idea how to do it. And I was also like, just was so nervous. I had just seen like dead bodies, you guys. Like it was terrible.
That's not funny.
And I was just like, yeah, so I'm here and I like there, and it's like literally I look like I'm about to cry, and people's comments were like, somebody come get this poor girl, like, is she crying, who did this to her, like, please send someone else out there. And I was like, yeah,
please do,
please. Like and I remember I saw that, I felt so bad. I was just like, never again, like this is awful. And but we're here now. We're fine. We're
here now. We are fine. It's funny though. That's like, and that's how you learn. But like, what an awful way to learn something.
No,
like
I was like, oh my gosh, no, I was about to cry.
Yeah,
you're right.
I mean, I made my bones doing in local news with dyslexia, unable to read the teleprompter, and people were like, take him off the air. He's horrible. He can't read. I remember we had a news anchor that left, and so he left. And under the congratulations post for this guy leaving, it was like, oh, great. So now the only other news anchor we have can't read.
Oh,
gosh. And I just liked the post.
No, that's what I did that to somebody. I was doing a Facebook Live and they commented and said that I was a bottle blonde. And yeah, no, I mean, like, I don't do it. I don't dye my hair from the bottle, but I get it done. But I was like, okay, thanks. And I laughed at it. I was like, yes, king.
Which, by the way, that freaks people out.
I know.
It's very
like,
rare.
I see you. See you. Come for me.
I had one situation, the one on ESPN where the foster care debacle, and that was a moment I was like, what are you laughing at? It was awful.
What you said or what happened?
No, what happened. And none of it was awful. I got through it.
Because I know you and I'm like, you know.
No, and it was when people finally got to the bottom of the story, like they understood, like, oh, this guy like loves foster kids. He's done like 100 stories on them, trying to get them home, like families. That's what he was talking about here. But at the end of the day, like I learned a lesson. Like maybe I was too anxious to get that story in there. Like if it's not it's got to be organic, is the popular word today, like not forced. And that was my part in that. I was like, I crowbarred that in there. And somewhere there's my ego connected to that. Like it could have just been left unsaid. Yeah. But when I was getting hammered for that, I mean, I was getting killed by people everywhere, like tens of thousands of people. Sad.
I didn't know how to bring it up. I was like,
no, you did. So you didn't.
I just didn't.
Yeah.
Was that better or worse?
And then Alex came in, the reporter, and I said, hey, what's up, Alex?
Oh, no.
And he turns to me. The best joke ever. He goes,
no, it was not just, hey, what's up, Alex? It was like something about.
I said something nice to him.
No, maybe something nice.
He said, don't talk to me. You're canceled. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
How do you come back from being canceled?
You keep your head down. You own your side of it. I was not going to put out an apology, but I got the impression that ESPN was like, look, we have your, by the way, ESPN was amazing. And just like Bob Walters would be like, your bosses and people stand behind you more so than you think. When the shit hits the fan, I was so impressed. Like they were like, we have your back. We know you had the best of intentions. Like, you know, just settle down. We like the way you've handled it. Like, that's it. But I got the idea that they wanted me to do an apology. So I did. And then it was chill. And then somebody that worked at ESPN and PR retweeted the apology. And then it got a whole nother life. And then I ended up like on the New York Post and all that stuff. It was, it was rough.
That's terrifying. But you see, you inspired, like, you know, like, I'm like, well, if Pete went through that.
Yeah, you can laugh about it. It's not that big.
Well, you know, gives you hope.
Yeah. All right. So we've used up almost all your time.
I know.
So any stories you've done recently that have been extremely fulfilling for you that people can go see on the KWTX News 10 website where Allie Kadlabar kicks ass every morning?
I really felt really joyful doing a story about this group of Waco ISD middle schoolers. They use 3D printing to make assistive devices for students. So that means like students with special needs that maybe can't like hold utensils. There's a device for them to be able to eat with utensils. And then
dang, and you did a story on that?
Yeah, it's really cute. Well, not cute. I mean, it is cute, but like I really felt happy to do that story because not only were those kids excited about sharing what they're doing, it is also like showing like, hey, they're using these 3D printing, they're learning engineering skills to do good.
Yeah.
And that was really sweet. I also liked the Christmas light story I did about the Schmidt house in McGregor. If you're local, go check it out. It's their last year doing it.
Why?
They've been because the husband has cancer and he is unable to just do it all anymore. And they want to travel, they want to, be able to do things during the holiday season. So I think they're just kind of retiring from it. And so it was really great to see like the husband or Mr. Schmidt come to life whenever I started like asking about his display and he was showing it to me. And I love that because you could tell he's really passionate about what he's doing and what he did. But it also comes with that bittersweet feeling of like, we won't be doing this again. So that was kind of sad, but it was meaningful and it was fun to go play in their yard that morning. I like to go play. But honestly, like December, if you're not doing a Christmas story, it's really hard to do stories.
Really?
Because a lot of people and places that you normally do a story with, they're doing something like Christmas or toy drives or like XYZ.
Anything? What's going on with the latest toy drives? Anything going on? Like toys?
Well, Toys for Tots, KWTX. Drop off your toys, 6700 American Plaza. If you're not local, just donate.
Have you gone out to any of the sites yet? I'm just curious.
That's meteorologists.
Oh yeah.
I need to do that though. I need to bring toys. I need to bring toys tomorrow.
So at the end of all these shows you just talked to us about, do you present all your subjects with flowers on camera? Do you?
Yeah, I come to each interview I do with flowers. So please, somebody contact me. I need story ideas.
You know what was funny? That you used to, people don't understand, like, because I'm like the older person, like the big brother in this whole thing, like you would bully me more than, that is so true, Allie.
I know.
She would do all kinds of awful things to me.
I don't, literally, people, who's going to believe that? Mike? Mike, do you believe that?
I do not.
Mike's still waiting for, you know what we'll have to do? We'll have to re-release our Festivus episode.
Oh my gosh. Wait, you know who
that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, you know who you bully more than I bully you? Andy, my dog.
The ugliest dog you've ever
Here's
seen.
a picture of Andy. Boom.
Oh.
Just kidding.
All right, so you're going to get your hair done?
Yeah, I'm going to get my hair done. I really need.
Will you come to
Look at
Slovakia
this
next
line.
Wednesday?
Next Wednesday? Oh yeah, I can do that.
You can?
Why? What time?
Because probably like 1 o'clock. Come on, you can do it on your way out of town.
No, I can.
Are you
I'm not arguing. I'll go.
Do you think you'll get engaged over the holiday season?
Oh my gosh, no. Has Jared texted you? I'm just kidding. Wait, oh my gosh, real quick. I thought about giving your number to Jared and my mom because actually they were not concerned. But I woke up like 2 weeks ago to a phone call from Jared and I fell asleep at like 5 and he called me and it was 9:45 p.m. on a Monday.
Yeah, I'm boots on the ground. I can find out what's going on.
Yeah, I know. So I was like, well, first of all, I was like, Jared, were you worried about me? Why are you just now calling me? And he was like, no, I thought you were fine. I was like, no, you should not think I'm fine. You should always assume the worst. And then my mom wasn't even worried. But I was like, just in case, I'm going to give him your number.
Do they have my number?
No, I need to send it.
Send it to him. All right.
Okay, I'll do that right now. 1 second, guys. No, I'm just
All
kidding.
right, Ali Kadlabar, thank you so much. We'll see you next week at Slovacek's.
Yeah. What are we doing?
See you, Ali.
Bye.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
You are here with your shoot first point guard, Corey Dickman.
Also, if you're not creating new fans in a small market, then you're not creating that base of people to go to games and pay for merchandise and pay for stuff and concessions at the Moda Center and yada yada.
Yeah, let's talk draft. That's the only thing we have to look forward to.
The only thing we have to look forward to.
That's what I will teach my son. You will teach your daughter as Blazers fans. It's like, look, the two most exciting times of the year for us are the draft lottery and the draft itself. Like, here we are. This is our thing. Give me some memories and thoughts. I know you had mentioned kind of the first time you had met Bill. What were some of those first memories that came back when you heard the news?
Sports.
All right, back here. Pete Sousa Show. Apologize for that. Some an update to hit you with, kind of fresh off the news wire here for Cowboys fans. This is bad news. Even me as an Eagles fan, this sucks because I love seeing this guy play. Demarion Overshone apparently, or not apparently, did tear his ACL, MCL, and PCL in his right knee against the Bengals last night. He'll have surgery later this week. This is according to Todd Archer and ESPN. And that sucks. This is a guy who missed his entire rookie season because of a knee injury. And God, that's a bummer because you hate to see two injuries like this come so early in someone's career. I mean, what a haymaker for Overshone. So I that's a total bummer. He's the Cowboys' second leading tackler and has become just the third Cowboy since 1982 to record at least 5 sacks, an interception, a fumble recovery, and a forced fumble in the same season. DeMarcus Ware and Greg Ellis, the only other two to do that. Ellis in 99, DeMarcus Ware in 2006. See if I can glean anything else off of this. Not really. So that sucks. Hoping the best for him. You're right. I mean, the Cowboys lose, but that's way worse because a second injury of that magnitude, you hate to see it affect a player's longevity in the NFL, especially someone with gifts like he has. And so that sucks. I told you guys earlier this year, I'm not like an NFL scout, I do some football analysis and certain things, but I don't pretend to be, the next Gil Brandt. But going to the Cowboys game against the Eagles earlier this year, I was like, there's one dude I want to watch, like on the field when the play's away. I just want to watch this guy all game. And it was Overshone. And it was, boy, did I have the right idea because he is amazing to watch. And even last night, I had the game on, but was kind of just listening to it. And every time I heard something go off, it was like, or I heard his name all the time. So that's a bummer. Number one prospect in high school basketball and projected to be the number one pick of the 2026 NBA draft. I cannot say AJ's last name, so I'm not even going to try. Our All right, I'll try. AJ Dybansta. And I got to know it by tomorrow morning because we're going to be talking about it on Inside the 12, the Big 12 show. But so he has committed to BYU. Wow. So I've heard rumors around this in the neighborhood as far as payment is concerned. I've heard 4 million all the way up to 6 million from people like in the college basketball world who are sourced up and know. So NIL groups and collectives gathering together $6 million for this young man. Yeah, it is the early signing period. He didn't want to make his decision public until this morning. He announced it on First Take, which is like First Takes, man, they got it going on. Yeah, so he's excited to play for BYU. BYU is a sleeping giant, and here's why. Because it's the same reason there is so much money there out in BYU. It is not just a school, not just a city. It is a country of because they're all over the place. BYU grads, LDS members with deep pockets. And if you look at BYU, for me, like somebody who's been around college and why this makes sense that they would have been able to drum up all this money. If you go to BYU, right, like all of these, not all of them, but a new movement now in college broadcasting, which has been the brainchild of ESPN, which is a great idea, is building out control rooms in all of these schools. And by building a control room inside the school's athletic department or arena or football stadium, you're now able to produce a live event, a sporting event, any sporting event held on campus pretty much. Or I guess outside of campus, whatever. But the idea would be to have that control room, right? Broadcasting or producing a broadcast of a live event taking place on the campus. And BYU has their own, I mean, and they're not the only school, but they have like a network. But this network is like unbelievable. And sometimes like you'll see it, you'll see BYU TV like, and nowadays with all these networks, it's, frequently you will see like offset channels that you're like, oh, wow, how did this end up on my TV right now or on the guide? But BYU TV is very real and it's a juggernaut. And I asked an executive from ESPN last year when I was out there doing a BYU game because we used the control room. And they're like, yeah, a lot of these Baylor, by the way, do not get it twisted for Waco people. Baylor has the second nicest control room in the country, as I've been told by folks at ESPN. It's brand new. It's in McLean Stadium, and it will blow your mind if you ever go in there. Now, remember, all these games, they used to be, not anymore because of this change. There were usually TV trucks that would pull up on campus or outside a stadium. That costs a lot of money. Like a lot of money. And I think somewhere in the neighborhood of $33,000 for each truck, I think, just to get them on site. And so BYU has their own station, like I said, their own network, and it's like the best. And I remember asking this executive, like, how do they have so much money? How are they able to do this? And he talked about BYU, the Church of Latter-day Saints, the support behind the school, and ultimately the finances behind the school that are unlike any in the country pretty much. So when you see that this young man has decided to go to BYU, and when you hear a number like $6 million, like don't let it knock you over to the point where, oh, I don't believe it. Another thing too, you go out to BYU, man, it's unbelievable out there. It's beautiful. Provo's beautiful. Everybody's cool. Everybody's nice. And in my experience, like it's a nice place to go to college. Now, this young man, AJ, whose name I promise I will learn, that there is a connection there to Utah. He went to prep school at Utah Prep over the summer. So he knows that area. He was born in Massachusetts. And And we see it now. He went from prep school to prep school. Was at Prolific Prep in California, and then he moved to Utah Prep in Utah. And be really interesting to see how this stuff shakes out. I hate to use this like awful comparison, but like an early commit is like when somebody rings the cancer bell, like that I'm free of cancer. Like I don't buy either of them, and maybe it's like the pessimist in me. Like, okay, well, let's see what happens when he signs on the dotted line. Like a lot can change. The same reason, and it's because of personal stuff, because my own stuff with my family and my brother. But like, oh, I'm cancer free. It's like, yeah, it's not always the case. Actually, just recently, the thing to end on a somber note, I saw just a little while ago Ryan Sandberg, another one of my favorite players growing up, playing second base for the Cubs. His prostate cancer is back after he rung the bell in August and was cancer free. And it's back and it's spread to organs all over his body. So thinking about him and his family, that news sucks because, and to go further on the cancer thing, it's V week with ESPN, and everybody, like, it is frightening that when you start to really talk about cancer, as now somehow we got down the rabbit hole on cancer, but as you talk about cancer, everyone has been affected by it. I mean, like everyone up to a certain age, right? Like has been affected by it, and it's just the worst. So how about that? Donate. And if you don't donate to the V Foundation, v.org, then go ahead and donate somewhere else to cancer research, and go ahead, see if you can take a bite out of that monster, because we've come a long way, right? With like the testing and a lot of the medical stuff we can do, but we can always do more. So donating to the V Foundation is a great way to start. As much as it sucks and as much as it's a bummer to talk about it, I think it's important that the conversation is being had so people can do what they need to do, right? And do what you have the opportunity to do, which is help. I actually thought about donating last night, but of course I didn't do it. Now I'm going to do it. How about all the times we think about doing nice stuff? Do we do it? I'm going to try to do it. All right, that's all for the Pete Sousa Show today. We will be back and better than ever tomorrow. We'll be on the heels of a Baylor basketball game. They played Norfolk State. I think they set all kinds of records last night, beating up on Abilene Christian. Yeah, we'll keep rolling tomorrow. But thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks to Slovacics, Ali Cadlebar, Zach Burke, and everybody else. We'll see you on the flip side.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
I mean, yeah, a new coach comes in, they're going to turn the roster. I think that's just we've got all these transfer portal stats and what Dion did and what Fritz has done. I mean, that's the deal, man. That's the game that's being played nowadays.
Maybe a little bit unknown at quarterback. I mean, unknown to the rest of the world, but he dove into the portal and got a guy who is super, super athletic.
South Dakota State's really good. Give us a little bit of breakdown about what they can do and what Oklahoma State needs to be worried about.
Look at that form right there. I need to say nothing else about this because I found one.
It is Matt Mosley and it's the Obstructed View podcast, Rogue Media Network. I think they're learning that there's really no wonderful view of me. See, I feel like they think this feed's going to be really wonderful.
There must have been no BS, like 20 scouts, 15 to 20 NBA scouts there to see him, and he was top 5.
When your old number wasn't working, I went through various channels to track you down. So unfortunately, you can never get away from me. But I'm happy. Man. I'm happy to have you today.
Nah, thanks for having me. And you know we always family, no matter where I'm at.
All is right with the basketball world. God's gift to the game of basketball, the Boston Celtics are back in the NBA Finals, baby. I don't think the Mavs did anything special. They played well enough to win and win pretty good. You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought the Celtics didn't show up to play at all, and maybe if they showed some fight in the second half, they would have lost by 15 or so. Is he in the Red Sox Team Hall of Fame?
He is also in the Red Sox Hall of Fame.
Something about this guy being in the Team Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I did.
So,
deserved, man.
Which seems like it fits.
Welcome to a special edition of the Doomsday Podcast. Look at this. We got one of the great golfers in the world, certainly one of the great pass rushers in NFL history.
But he also had a vision for you. And so it was like you had the best of both worlds, right? You had somebody on you early, and then you had somebody who was maybe more relaxed.
What were a couple of your biggest takeaways? The first thing you referred to that I've spoken to some personnel people and general managers of the league to get some, independent, objective assessments of the players the Cowboys picked, and we'll go through that. Has the general manager changed at all in the draft for you?
Nope, it's been the same since I was here the last time.
We are Rogue Media Sports.